Hi everyone and welcome. Today, instead of the usual pick a card reading, I have done a requested reading. In last week's pick a card reading, I have made an announcement where I requested the listeners, so you guys, to suggest a reading with the topic that interests you the most, and a beautiful soul replied. And before I read you her comment, which will be of course the topic of this present reading, I would just like to thank Jennifer so very much for listening and for actually suggesting this really good theme for today's reading. So now let me read you what she wrote. So I would love to hear a reading about where humanity is / could be heading, and how best as individuals we can minimize the damage and maximize the healing growth. And she also wrote, if this, what we are living right now, is really a time of great profound change, or is it just a passing storm in the long span of history? Now, of course, this is a rather complex question, but where there is a will, there is definitely a way. So for today, I have decided to choose one of my favorite spreads, which I do believe that can actually answer all of this in one go, which is The Secret of the High Priestess, which in my opinion is one of the most profound and revelatory spreads in the tarot, because it is inspired by the symbolism of the High Priestess, which is basically the female intuition. So it sources from the great cosmic celestial mother of all things. And nothing is actually hidden from her sight, especially her intuitive parts. Of course, there is a vast number of adaptations to this spread. I'm going to use my personal one. So before I get into the reading, I would just like to explain which position means what. So the cross in the middle is the theme, it is the topic, it is the energy of the present. I have marked this position with a 1 because this is the core of the reading. You know, with The Secret of the High Priestess, just take a look at the High Priestess card, especially if you have a Rider-Waite deck. And you can see that the High Priestess has a cross. She wears on her neck or near her chest. Basically, that is the truth within the heart. That is why it usually symbolizes the core of the topic. Now also the High Priestess, above her, she has 3 phases of the moon. I marked this with 2, 3, and 4. 2 is the past, 3 is the present, and 4 is the future. Also, the High Priestess in the Rider-Waite deck has 2 columns. 5 is that which we already know or we can already understand. 6 is that which is hidden from our sight, that is which belongs to the realm of the unconscious, the unknown. 7 is the secret she would like to reveal to us. And finally, 8 is the resolution, so where this is heading towards. So as you can see, this Secret of the High Priestess spread can actually answer all of the questions in one spread in one go, and it can even give us some very specific details. So if you're interested to hear what the Divine Mother inspired as an answer to Jennifer's topic, please stay tuned. So first of all, we have to take a look at the cross, so the essence, the very core of the topic, and it is the 6 of coins and the Ace of coins. Now what these 2 combination of cards mean, it is very striking, it is almost self-explanatory. It is like the High Priestess just literally answered the question, and what she says is, what we're experiencing right now is a profound change, transformation, but in the purification sense, first of all, of our species, so humanity's value system. What this means is, as long as our value system is flawed, So it is unfair, unequitable, not really based on compassion, equality, charity. All of the symbolisms of the Six of Coins tarot card. The moon in the sign of Taurus. The value of the human spirit, of the soul, not necessarily how the soul is incarnated and embodied. And also this has a very strong astrological energy at play until 2026. Uranus in the sign of Taurus is basically doing exactly this, revolutionizing, upgrading our value systems by first of all collapsing it, destroying it symbolically to be understood. Value is a psychological energy, so Uranus has to really twist us, turn us, send us into total chaos in order to basically highlight, decant, bring to the surface the soul truth. And what is the truth with this Ace of Coins? It is very simple. As a species, as a collective, call it however you want, we already have enough resources, technology, knowledge, wisdom, experience, everything that basically is needed for us to actually embody, to uphold, to keep in existence for the very long-term future, a very equitable and fair value system. We already have everything that we could possibly need, both psychologically, socially, spiritually, technologically, materially. We have everything that we could possibly ask for to actually have this in the present. But it is our flaws, it is the shadow, it is actually the dark side of the spirit which pollutes it, which flaws it, which basically distorts it. So, right now the world is definitely ruled by greed, by unfairness. The huge difference between the ultra rich and the ultra poor. Where certain people have so many skills, talents, inner values, and basically because how society is built up in the present moment, they are wasted, they are basically defeated by the very moment of their birth. And basically the universe, the Ace of Coins, the element of earth, so the universe, the divine manifested in its earth element, is stopping us, almost like it placed us in an invisible time bubble where time and evolution can simply not move forward until we purify this, until we clear this, until we purge out the shadow. It doesn't want perfectionism, it doesn't want us to be perfect, it doesn't want perfect equality, equity and fairness, because that is of course impossible. All that it wants us is for us as a species to allow the spirit of charity, the Six of Coins, the spirit of unconditionality to have way more influence, to be able to exist freely, not to be suppressed, not to be, let's say, suffocated, defeated constantly by our flawed value system. And this is basically the big contradiction. As I said earlier, we already have everything that we could ask for to enable this, to work with this, to actually create this now. Not in the future, not next year. We already have everything in the now. Just that we cannot move forward because greed and basically the most unhealthy expression of what capitalism and everything which has to do with its darker side. So those do not allow us to be able to create this much better, much more human value system, that which actually gives way to the human spirit, to who and what we are at the very core, to dominate and express itself. All of our laws, all of our legal system, moral values do speak about this. So the theory is there and was there. But the universe, the divine, is definitely waiting. It is not rushing. It is definitely not in a hurry. It stops us. It stagnates us. It isolates us as a species until we actually do that which is necessary. Once when we have everything that we could possibly need, this definitely includes the material aspect of all of this, there is enough food and resources for everyone out there. No one should be hungry, no one should actually suffer because of lack of resources. But how we implement this, how we enable this, it's really up to us. There is nothing set in stone. It is up to our creativity, our ingenuity, up to our visionary spirit to give the way. It can be universal income or whatever. As long as no one is left hungry, no one is left defeated, it doesn't mean that everyone should have the same honors, the glory, basically to be 100% equal, because that is not possible. Neither is it healthy. We're born so very different. This just means that every living soul could have the minimum basic decency, and that's all the universe is waiting for. Of course, geniuses, master artists, those who possess like lightning intelligence should have an upper hand. They should be rewarded, they should be honored. And of course, it would be absolutely healthy to exist a certain kind of difference between those who truly work and try and invest everything that they are into the evolution of our species, and also at the same time those who inherited a lot of fortune or whatever from their families, or it's the result of their hard work. Of course, they should be allowed to prosper and thrive and have the lives that they want to have. But the thing is, there shouldn't be death, destruction, despair, suicide, and a lot of things which are against the spirit, because certain people own all the resources and other people are actually left to starve, to be defeated karmically because of things and challenges that are no longer necessary and are no longer even viable in our world. We solved this technically, materially, legally, philosophically, morally. All we need to do is apply it, but literally. And also, this Six of Coins and Ace of Coins energy represents that so very many individuals out there feel that they're in a permanent stagnation, almost caught in a temporal bubble, if this makes sense. Nothing happens, no good, no bad. It's almost like they're in a permanent state of contemplation, in a certain kind of invisible cocoon. Well, that is why the divine is not allowing us as a species to go forward until we truly sort out our collective psychology, as in refine, distill, purify our value systems. Both good and evil, good and bad, whatever was part of our world until this present moment is still gonna be in it. It's not that big change, to be totally honest. But we already have the technology, which is way too big for our shoes. So that is a big discrepancy. We need to evolve morally. We need to allow our human spirit to be guiding us in a very active way for us to actually align with our technology, because our science, our technology, and all of our advancements are way ahead than our spirituality, or let's just say morality. And this is something which can only be aligned if basically time stops for us. To be understood symbolically, of course, but the way we're feeling, a lot of individuals out there, it's not even that symbolic, to be honest. And as I said, the divine has all the time in the world. It's not in a rush. It will definitely stop us any way possible until we do that. Truly embody our value systems, our purified ones. And since it is absolutely obvious that as a species, through our representatives, through our leaders, through our, if a species works similarly as a beehive, well, we have a leader, a queen as well. If the leader refuses this, then the universe can only enable this through millions of individuals. So right now, everyone, their own special, unique way, is actually purifying their own value systems, finding their true values, what makes them happy, what makes them, their uniqueness, their true spirit, what their soul wants and resonates with. So this is happening to everyone on the planet. And so basically this is another way to do that which the leader, the queen, so to speak, symbolically to be understood, refuses. When the millions of individuals forming our species simply no longer support a certain kind of value or value system, that will collapse 100%. No one can stop that collapse, no one can undo it, even if they manipulate, brainwash us, and stop us from actively collapsing this tradition, so to speak. It is still the soul. They have no control over the soul. If the soul just rejects this and tries to embody a more human spirit-based value system, that which is truly us, well then this is just a question of time. No one can stop this. No one can manipulate this. Sooner or later, through any means necessary, this will take place. There is no stopping this. And, maybe we live in the illusion that some people, groups of people, leaders, etc., are successfully stopping this, turning this around in their favor and their advantage. They are basically controlling us, so to speak. That is just an illusion. Let them believe that, because it's just a matter of time. And, we also have a time frame, 2026, when Uranus will leave the sign of Taurus. The transformation of the value system is going to be completed by then. And there are pages in history, for example, the 1930s, the Great Depression, where the last time Uranus was in the sign of Taurus, that transformed the world and value system profoundly. So we're experiencing the same thing just on our level now. As I said, our technology is already almost quantum, so that means that our spirit, our morality, the heart has to catch up. It has to align. Now let's see the past, which is the number 2 position in this spread. And there we have the Knight of Coins reversed, clarified by the Ace of Wands and the Tower reversed. Now what this symbolizes is that humanity has a lot of problems right now, because not so long ago we as a species committed a very serious, almost unacceptable crime against the spirit of the universe. And a golden age or prosperity for us to thrive and be well, despite us having the technology for that once again, is not going to be permitted until we truly purge out that bad karma that we have created. And surprisingly, these cards symbolize what that event was very clearly, straightforward. And as a species, we have so very many things to be ashamed of in our history, going back to the most ancient of times. And surprisingly, most of the bad things that basically we were part of are not even that big deal, because they're basically part of the evolution of any species. We have to face the bad, the ugly, of our own aggression and aggressive natures, the wild animal inside of us, in order to know the difference, in order to see the other side of the spectrum, the gentle, loving, creative creatures that we also are. So basically many things which were truly gruesome and basically very hard to look at, that our species was author of, that wasn't really that big deal from a karmic perspective, except one specific deed. And the Ace of Wands, fire. But not just any fire, the fire of our knowledge, the highest knowledge that we have acquired. And the Tower reversed, we use that knowledge to do irreparable damage. A kind of damage which was almost like multi-dimensional, and what I'm talking about is the usage of the atomic bomb. The High Priestess reveals to us that that was a moment when we almost destroyed all of our karmic journey as a species. That was a moment when we came as close as possible to self-destruction, because the divine spirit, basically the spirit of the creator, almost withdrew its trust and its sympathy from our species. So that one singular act, the Knight of Coins reversed, almost sabotaged everything that we stand for. So up until this present moment, in a lot of symbolic ways, our species had to make up for what we have done. And right now we possess infinitely greater knowledge. We can manipulate the subatomic world as we wish. But this is where we have to know by now the difference, that with great power comes great responsibility. So we must definitely not repeat the mistakes of the past. And this doesn't really refer to like nuclear weapons and nuclear technology and war. This just represents any kind of knowledge that we possess, including the knowledge of psychology. That might actually be the atomic weapon, the nuclear weapon of this day and age, symbolically to be understood, of course. So anyway, the High Priestess is telling us that we are repairing what we have done wrong as a species, and we're not going to be allowed to witness who knows what kind of miracles and prosperity until that karmic lesson is learned by everyone. Now, moving on, the cards which symbolize the present. So number 3 is the Four of Wands reverse, clarified by the Temperance and the King of Cups. This is a really, really good sign, because it means that the Four of Wands, celebration, completion, unity, harmony. And since it's reversed, well, it means that symbolically, individually perhaps, we are divorcing from our pasts, from our old beliefs, from our old way of thinking, from our old modus vivendi, so our old lifestyles. The fact that our old normalities were shattered is actually a big blessing, because we are more true and authentic to ourselves than ever before. And this is a good sign, because these new completions, alliances, whatever this Four of Swords would symbolize in upright position, so basically our new normalities, all of our lives, our karmic paths, our goals, etc., after they're healed, and this might refer to the year 2024, that might be a moment of big healing, regeneration and completion, when our psychological work, spiritual work, and any kind of work basically that we're doing so hard in the present moment will show a very clear and straightforward fruits being delivered, so us being able to harvest the fruits of our labor. So many of us individually, even though it might not look that way right now, especially if you look at the global situation, we are actually doing the work, and chances are that many of us are actually not failing, regardless of how we may feel at the present moment. We're actually succeeding. We're actually doing that which we have to do. And the Temperance card, Alchemy, we're embodying what alchemy is and means to us personally. We are purifying, we are distilling our hopes and dreams to their very essence. And the King of Cups, one way or another, many of us are, some people even without knowing expressively, embodying the Christ consciousness, which means compassion, humanitarianism, solidarity, proper empathy, acceptance, forgiveness, true genuine optimism and lightheartedness, not taking life that seriously, not turning it into an endless drama. You know, everything which is the most positive side of the age of Aquarius. We're actually doing it even if we might not realize how successful we are even in this present moment. Now let's see the cards which depict the future. So number 4, we have the Page of Swords clarified by the Six of Swords reversed and the King of Swords. This is a lot of swords energy, and this does symbolize Aquarius, you know, where we had the great conjunction last December, so 21st of December 2020, where Saturn and Jupiter met in the sign of Aquarius. That means in the next 20 years, we will embody the vibes, the energies, the symbolism, and the expression of the sign of Aquarius, which is future-oriented, which is a cerebral, mental energy. It is our higher thinking. It is also our future. And with this Page of Swords, we're actually healing our thoughts, our mental patterns, our way of thinking. What we're heading towards is that we're, you know, the internet, our technology, our human interconnectedness, which in this day and age is literal, it's not symbolic. The internet is a physically manifested part of that. All of us are literally connected, like it or not. So we are purging it right now. We are purifying it. We're turning it into something truly inspirational. For example, it is a database, a data bank of our knowledge, of everything that we have achieved. We're also storing a part of our consciousness into it. And right now it is extremely toxic and harmful. And, you know, it promotes fear, hate. It promotes paranoia, mass psychosis. But we're purifying it. We're purging it. We're dealing with that already. The Six of Swords reversed. We are not advancing unless we purify it, until we make this internet, our manifested interhuman connection, into something safe, into something positive, something constructed, until it becomes this King of Swords. Our mental and intellectual identity, all of our mental strength and power put into one place so that it can serve us, it can actually serve the highest good. And when our thoughts are in the right place, well, you can imagine that technology and everything else that we have in our lives will also serve the greater good. Now, of course, all of this sounds very optimistic, positive, and hopeful, just like Aquarius. But don't forget, this is Swords energy. So this is just the divine blueprint. How this will manifest physically, that is a totally other question. It can be as painful, as chaotic, as full of hardship as we could possibly imagine. But this can be at least a reassurance that we are actually heading towards something which serves the greater good, because that is the divine blueprint, that is the divine will. The only way that we can fail it is if we kind of destroy ourselves until we get there, so in the next 20 years. But this Page of Swords is also promising, because it says that our children, or the children that are about to be born in the close future, they are not so easily tricked, and they are born with a very strong higher thinking ability, that which is very unique to their generation. So basically, when they will take control of things, you know, when it's their turn to basically have a saying in what will happen to the future, they will do things much, much more differently than we or our ancestors have done. So basically what this tells us, just because right now we are not really able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because, you know, as individuals we're defeated from so very many different directions, but our children are not as helpless as it might seem. They're really not victims. They will have the power, this mental strength, and this mental purity, this innocence to truly turn things around. Now, number 4 is what we already know. And we have the 8 of Swords reversed, clarified by the 4 of Coins and the Hangman reversed. Well, this is also self-explanatory. 8 of Swords reversed. This is where we're cutting our cords, we're untangling ourselves, we're fighting for liberty, we're fighting for simply be able to live that who we truly are deep within ourselves. And this is where the first freedom is our mental freedom. As long as our minds are free, as long as our minds are not polluted by social influence, by fake values, by that which was programmed into us by our education, upbringing, etc. As long as we can be free, at least in our minds, that is already a massive progress. That is almost like a quantum guarantee that things are definitely have to be different, because there is no other way. No one and nothing can override the rules of the universe, and mind over matter. Even the most ancient scriptures and texts said that the very first thing was the word, so information, the plan, the divine plan. As long as by embodying our freedom, who we are on a soul level, is an ongoing work that we're doing. So freeing our minds, allowing ourselves to think and wish and process that which we want to, who it is that we are, of course, we're already doing a monumental difference. So have faith in this. And the 4 of Coins, we're not squandering our power, we're really, really holding tight to our individuality, our distinctiveness, our gift and power. And the Hangman reverse. A massive revolution is taking place as we speak. And this isn't no secret. We know this, we see this quite in a physical, ritual sense. Even if it might seem in the present moment that we're not making very much progress, or if our own personal revolution, rebellion, the Hangman reversed, bursting out of the cocoon, might be in vain because the rich and powerful still hold all the power. Well, don't bet on it. This is where the High Priestess says that so very many people freed their minds already. This is already done. So we can truly expect massive changes that will truly show themselves one way or another. If it's chaos, if it's destruction, if it's like earthquakes that we are beyond our imagining that are needed, then that is what is needed, but change will still take place. If our quantum experiments where we slice and split even subatomic particles have to go out of control and do something unimaginable, then that is what is needed, but change will still take place 100%. And also, another symbolism of this 8 of Swords reversed, that which you're not connected to mentally, that which you do not make part of your life story, is not gonna affect you. That piece of, let's say, karma or action or whatever which you disown, which you refuse to own and take part in, mentally, psychologically, spiritually, in any way, shape or form, well, it's not gonna be part of your story, and you're not gonna be part of the repercussion. Or at least not in a way which would truly affect your life story and your future. Now, in number 5 position, that which we do not know, that which is still in the shadows, that which only the High Priestess can see right now. And you know how ironic, the High Priestess herself reveals to us that the changes that await us in the following 2 years are beyond our imagination. the High Priestess, the moon in the sign of Scorpio, the Death card, the sign of Scorpio, and the Judgment card, the sign of Pluto, the ruling planet of Scorpio, they speak about an infinitely powerful transformation. We haven't seen anything yet, and at the same time, all of these cards is secrets being revealed, secrets being exposed. Basically, the High Priestess tells us that, whatever we have seen and experienced until this present moment, regarding the world change, of course, is still nothing. The best, the cherry on top, the true body of the iceberg is still to be revealed. So, let's not judge, let's not make any decisions. We cannot even have an opinion in this present moment because we still don't know anything at all. The true secret, the true mystery, that which is actually going on in the background right now, behind our awareness, is still yet to be revealed, and it is heavily fated, heavily karmic. And chances are, the Death card with the Judgment card, well, there is gonna be one big symbolic event that is still yet to take place, and it can be a little bit shocking. It can take a lot of lives even, because the Death with Judgment is definitely not an easy energy, and also a certain part of it is definitely not gonna be known ever, understood ever by everyone. Maybe only some very lucky few people who have a the sharpest, intuitive, empathic, third eye kind of sense are gonna actually know what's going on. The rest of the world is not gonna know directly. They can only sense, they can only intuit, they can only basically be able to tell by their instincts, but not be able to see the big picture perhaps ever, and that is okay. We really don't need to know everything, because the change, the transformation, and ultimately both the Death card and Judgment, Pluto in the sign of Scorpio, is a massive rebirth and regeneration. So that is where truly going, a rebirth, like a phoenix moment. And now finally, the highlight of this reading, where in the 6th position we have the secret of the High Priestess. And usually the general rules of this specific spread, so the secret of the High Priestess spread, is if in this position we get a major arcana, then the High Priestess reveals to us her secret, and the symbolism of that major arcana is what she's going to be revealing to us. If it's a minor arcana, that means that either there is no secret, or we are not able to understand, comprehend the secret, so we have to leave it at that. But we do have a major arcana here, so it means that it's really no secret whatever is going on right now in the world. It is the Fool card. It is the Alpha moment. We are in the middle of the Alpha and the Omega moment, the beginning and the end. Basically, the life, the normality, the world that we used to know is ending and something new is beginning. It is the zero moment. It is basically a true literal quantum leap. It is the next phase of evolution. And also, the Fool card, its astrological correspondent is Uranus. Uranus does this chaotically. It is like a massive quantum leap which leaves us speechless. It's shocking. It's unfathomable sometimes. It is also violent. It is a revolution, a rebellion. This is where we don't just shed off our old skins like a snake. This is where we violently rip it off. But the Fool card also has a gentle quality to it. As long as we cooperate, and cooperation means something very simple. We abandon old knowledge. We return to innocence. We embrace a second childhood, just like a child. The world is out there, it is in front of us. We can either see it as something infinitely complicated, as a maze that will defeat us, suffocate us, drown us, that which we not just fear, but we dread it, its absolute terror. Or the other choice is, if we see it as an adventure. It doesn't matter if we don't know a lot. It doesn't matter if we cannot decipher everything. Even if it's a maze, we have this child spirit within us, which takes it as a game, and that ultimately means that it attracts the beginner's luck. It attracts divine good fortune and guidance. No child is abandoned by the universe, by its parent. So if we embody this new sense of adventure, this excitedness, if we allow this inner child of ours to become alive and just basically disown all of the mess, all of the failures, the fears, the worries of the inner adult, that which we were conditioned, programmed to be, and this in a literal sense, our education, our upbringing, society, our jobs, everything that we have to do as an adult, well, that is more or less forced upon us. That isn't really who we are. That is actually who we're conditioned to be. If we ask who we truly are, our true identity, well, you know what? The child who we used to be is the answer to that, and not the adult who we became right now. So basically what the High Priestess tells us the secret, yes, this is a quantum leap. The future is knocking. There is no way to stop it, but we do have a choice. We can either dread it, fear it, let it defeat us even before it's here, or we can just be the child that we are and take it as a next and new adventure. And it's okay, it's more than okay, if we don't know anything, if we only have our heart, our dreams, and the love of life within us to keep us company, basically, because that is more than enough to attract the beginner's luck in this new journey that all of us are going to be starting on, both individually and collectively. For some people out there, this full moment already happened. They might be already living like 360-degree different lives than they were maybe a few years ago. For others, they are still blocked, they're still in the cocoon, but they know that once they break through, that is what's gonna happen to them. They can already feel the breakthrough. But of course, those who allow to be possessed by the fear, by the uncertainty, by the controversy, by all the conspiracies, well, they are definitely gonna be defeated in the sense that they will just drown, suffocate in the cocoon before they can break free. But overall, the Fool card should truly delight us, because this truly is a new beginning, and this is the rebirth of the child who we used to be, regardless how old or young you are. And finally, we have the resolution, the 10 of coins clarified by the Emperor reversed, and the Queen of coins. Now, this is also so very self-explanatory. This says that Mother Earth is healing herself, she is regenerating, she is making the changes that she finds necessary within herself, and the Emperor reversed. We can either support her, go with the flow, right now, in this present moment, surrender to her own regeneration, to her ways and will, or we can be crushed by her, absorbed by her. This is where no matter what we do, no matter what technology we use, no matter what we delude ourselves with that we're the dominant species, this is where we just can't be the emperor. We're not in control right now, and this is something we must accept. If we treat her as a mother is really, really reliable. A mother has instinct, a mother has intuition, a mother has knowledge, a mother inherited so much from her own mother, so she has everything that she might need to take care of any children, any child. Basically, that is the only choice that we have, that amongst so many things that we're guided to do right now, we need to return to nature, refine our connection, our devotion, our love, let her nurture us, let her feed us, let her guide us. And also, if we as a species or as an individual, we oppose nature's healing and regeneration cycle and phase, well, she will crush us. And also, from a totally different kind of perspective, this is where, if we look at the Ten of Coins as a value system, that means the completion of something really positive, where the patriarchy, the emperor, that which rules with tyranny, by force, by fear, by control, well, it has already fallen, to be honest. And contrary to what so very many people think there, it's not really matriarchy that will rise and take control. Because this Queen of Coins actually represents each and every individual's own creative spirit and creativity, which is not polarized, which is not split into genders. This is where we live in a day and age where all of us can use empirical knowledge, for example, the symbolism of the male element, and also intuition and soul kind of creativity, artistic expression, the female element at the same time, even simultaneously, even combining it. So basically, this is where the human spirit should rule, and not gender, not patriarchy, not matriarchy, just the spirit, which is genderless basically. And last but not least, this also has a spiritual connotation. The Ten of Coins is Mercury in the sign of Virgo, its exalted sign. So this kind of means that, mind over matter naturally. This is nothing new, it was always like this. But from a spiritual perspective, we are able to manifest things, whatever it is that we want, that we plan, whatever it is that we have mastery and knowledge over, whatever it is that we can think of, mind over matter. But this is where perhaps the biggest spiritual lesson that everyone who is into spirituality has to learn is purity. It is not what I want, what I deserve. This is not really about my way or the highway, how good I am, how special I am, all the rights that I have. This has nothing to do with I. This isn't about the ego. And basically what we're experiencing spiritually right now is the dominance, the rise of the hyperego. Everything spiritual is justified by the ego. And that goes against the divine spirit, of course. So we are being allowed to live this, to do this, to experience this, until we burn ourselves. And then very, very quickly, we will so fast return to purity. And once all of us understand, regardless of our path, regardless of our philosophies, regardless of our religion, etc., that the spirit and its manifestation, of course, not only has to manifest with purity, where there isn't me, my, etc., but also purity means perfect trust, that when we call down the spirit, especially if we do not program it, give it the charge. So this goes exactly against the law of manifestation, this modern current trend. If we do not program it, it will automatically serve the greater good of all. So that is the essence of purity, this perfect trust, that the spirit is the spirit and it doesn't need any mental instructions. The Mercury mind over matter is after, when we have the harvest, we use it as we judge, decide, know best. Like symbolically, if you harvest fruits from your garden, Some people consume it straight away, other people use it to make like jams, cakes, preserve it, freeze it, dry it, make remedies. Other people give it to factories to extract vitamins, make teas, etc. So that is the Mercury in Virgo part. That is the charge, the purpose we give the manifestation of the spirit after it's here, after it's done, but not really before, because this is exactly the main lesson, spiritually speaking here, that we can truly trust that when we call down the spirit, it will automatically, without doubt, always serve the highest good of everything, both us as me, as an individual, as the ego, and also the collective and the nature, and basically everything, because that's its very essence. When it doesn't follow its essence, that is when it's distorted, when it's twisted, when it's mutated. That is the impurity. So, are we truly teaching certain people who are just finding their path how to twist and modify and basically misuse the gift of the spirit? Shouldn't we rather be teaching them that you can actually trust even if you don't know everything? But anyway, according to the High Priestess, we will definitely get there. And it will be a moment not just of great prosperity, 10 of coins of course, but this Queen of Coins suggests that our species won't just get connected in a proper way to nature, but we will rise above nature, but in a harmonious sense where we will consider ourselves her protectors, her guardians. It is us who are gonna nurture and take care of our mother. But of course, the 10 of coins also implies that this is a lot of time. Until we actually get to this phase, maybe it's gonna be in 100 years, maybe much more, who really knows? But we are at the very beginning of this, so it's already started. You see, the Ace of Coins is the first coins card, and the 10 of Coins, it's basically the Ace of Coins in its most matured, stable, advanced form. So we are at the very beginning of this, and that is where we're heading. So basically this concludes today's reading. I hope that you enjoyed it, and especially Jennifer, the listener who requested this. I hope that you at least found some answers or at least a little bit of inspiration. If you would like to suggest any kind of topic, any kind of reading, feel free to express your preferences in the comments below. And also, if you'd like to support my work, you can donate on the PayPal link in the description below. With this being said, thank you again for listening. Wish everyone a magical weekend. Until next time, bye for now.